Hey there, this is Derek Henry with XLEV8 Consulting, and in this how-to video we're going to talk about the Print Picker. Now if you do a lot of printing, or even if you save a printout as a PDF file, you're really going to like this one, especially if you have a lot of sheets that you might want to print out. Now in this file we've got a lot of identically structured sheets, and just to show you what we're talking about here, we're going to run the Print Picker. The default keyboard shortcut is Control Shift and P. And just like the other pickers, it's going to present to you different commands. You enter the code associated with it, maybe some things you add to that, press enter, and then it will run for you. Now, we're going to start with option P, which is my default. That is going to show the print preview. Very, very common thing you do before you print. So we press enter there. And notice it's not terribly good looking. It's not wrapping correctly. It's putting it all over the place, right? So press escape to get out of that. There's some things we might want to do. Now if we run it again, let's start with option M, set the margins. Now that's actually going to show the margin picker. We're going to cover that in a separate video and support page. A lot of times people will just enter in for narrow. In fact, you see how that's my default option, and press OK. And there you go, it's going to apply narrow margins to any of the sheets that are selected. That's a key thing for all these different options and components of the picker. If you have multiple sheets selected, it's going to apply any of these options across multiple sheets. That's not something you can do natively in Excel for all the different print commands. So keep that in mind. It's usually a good thing, but sometimes it might take a little longer. So just know that's what's going on. We talk about margins. O is going to set the page orientation. So press OP for portrait, that's going to be taller, or press OL for landscape, that's going to make it wider. Okay. Now the next one we are going to run here, option F, to fit to a number of pages either wide or tall. So you're going to put an F, then you're going to add the number of pages in width, an X, then the number of pages of length. So if you put in an F1X10, that's going to be 1 page wide by 10 pages long or tall. In this case, I don't know how many pages it is going to be tall. So if we put an F1X0, it's not going to put a setting in for the tall, but it is going to fit to 1 wide. That's a really common setting people apply. So if we run that, and then we run the preview again, notice it's a lot cleaner. It's fitting everything to 1 page. Now this is a lot of data, so you might want to hide some of these things first, but at least it's fitting to 1 page with narrow margins. Now, the next option in here is to repeat rows at the top. Now, as you might have seen, let's run that preview again real quick. You might have seen it's not doing that. So we'd have to have that first page all the time to know what these columns are. What we can do is across all these different sheets in one step, we can add repeating rows. So let's say we want to fit, let's say it's rows 3 and 4. So we're going to put the absolute references because that's what Excel expects here. We're going to put rows 3 and 4. Now notice what happens in the preview. It's going to keep those rows at the top so that we know what these are, period to date, year to date, with what the columns are. That's pretty common. If you're going to show or print out multiple sheets tall, I always recommend putting some repeating rows. That way you know what it is you're looking at. It's like freezing the panes in the non-printout, just like you're seeing right here. Now, same way works for repeating columns at the left. Now, I'm not going to do that because we're fitting these all to 1 page wide in this example, but it would be very much like R. You put in a C, then you'd put in absolute values for absolute references for the column letters, like $A, $B. Option H is going to center the contents horizontally on the page. So we're going to run that. Not going to be as necessary here because, again, there's so much data, it's fitting into 1 page, but it will fit it horizontally. So sometimes if you have not a whole lot of data and it shoves it all on the left side, horizontally might look a little better. Use option H for that. Option P does the same thing, but for vertically. So just taking a look here, center it vertically across the page. Now option T is helpful because it's a pretty standard footer that a lot of people like to enter. It's going to add footer with the file path on the left and the date and the time on the right. I'm not going to run that one because you get what that means. That's pretty basic. We already touched on option P, show the preview. Option A is going to set the print area. So you would select some part of the page and then you're going to press A to set the printable area, and it will not print everything else. We'll just ignore that. Now, if you've done that by mistake and you need to reset it, just put AC. So it will clear the print area and it'll go back to the default, which is basically everything on the page as it's displayed. Now, if you want to print specific sheets and you have the sheets you want to print in a list, like a table of contents, that's where Option Z is very helpful. So we got a table of contents here. We would say select the first few sheets for the numerical values here. We would select these. Then we would come in here and we would use Option Z. It will print out these 10 sheets and only those 10 sheets. That's extremely helpful when you have this table of contents, which remember, you can run that with the Sheet Action Picker. If you want to print the selected sheets, so in this case, it's just this sheet that's selected, but you could select multiple sheets and then run Option S and it will print those selected sheets. Or if you want to print the selected range, you could go into one of these sheets, select some range that you want to print, and then run Option E and it will print that out for you. Now, Option B is really interesting. It's going to first, when you run that, what it's going to do is build a sheet, if it doesn't find it, called Bulk Print Settings. Okay, so it literally builds this sheet. For each of the sheets in the file, it will list them all out as well as all these different print settings. The orientation, the zoom level, the fit to pages wide and tall, and the margins, and the footers, and the headers, and the centering, and the repeating rows, and all that stuff, right? All in one place. So if you want to make bulk changes, you can make it in the top one, and then you can repeat them down. That's pretty simple, right? And then you run this again, right? Run Control-Shift-P for the print picker and run B again. Any changes you have made are going to be applied in bulk. A lot of times people will leave this sheet in here so that you can apply the same thing. If you're going to be printing out the same report every time and you want to make these same print setting changes, you can copy and paste this, or you can even follow the instructions up here. Set a default file, right? Save it when you do that, and it will prompt you. When you run this, hey, do you want to use some of your saved settings? You can have up to 5 files that are used as your template. So whatever you're showing in here, it will use that as the template. That's pretty powerful stuff because you're reusing that thinking and that effort to set it up. Now, Option Q is pretty basic. It's just going to show the page settings dialog box. A lot of times there's just one little thing you want to tweak and just gives you a shortcut to get there. And notice it's going to reflect any of the changes that we've made. And lastly, there are up to 5 custom print settings that you can enable. Now, how you're going to do this is on the active sheet that you have selected, make any adjustments to the printing settings. So the landscape, the zoom level, the fit to pages, the margins, the repeated items, the headers, the footers, the centering, all that stuff. Make it look just the way you want it. And then use Option X, give it a name, like you see the names here, right? Then you can come over here and say default 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and it's going to save that so that the next time you want to run it, all of those settings, all you have to do, so if we were to change that, let's go back into one of these other sheets here. All we'd have to do is press, let's say 2. Okay, it's going to apply all the print settings that are saved behind the scenes from my second favorite. It's going to apply them all in one step to one sheet, or if you have multiple sheets selected, it'll be applied to all those sheets. And that can save quite a bit of time. So if we go back to the preview, it's probably going to be ugly because there's a lot of sheets that would be printed in this example. But it did enable all of them, right? So it's doing the same thing. It's giving my favorite settings here in one step. So I definitely encourage you to save some of your favorites, name them logically so you can run them again. And it's as easy as putting a 1 through 5 in the option here. It's really quick, especially when you have multiple sheets copied. Okay? So that's it. That's all the options in the print picker. Hopefully you found some helpful things here, especially if you print out a lot. Appreciate your time watching and have a great day.